Hello. Today I'm going to talk about my experience with galactic family. um, from first becoming aware of it and the various sightings that I've seen and experiences that I have had. Now, I first became aware very much of my greater connection with the universe in 2005 when the sun here started reacting with my vibration much more powerfully. It was like it was reaching out to me and just absolutely expanding and projecting so much love, unreal, streaming rays towards me. And I was absolutely in awe. This just kept happening all the time in 2005, and I hadn't been aware of it before. So at that time, it was brought fully into my awareness of the greater universe at play and our connection therein. Then, about 2007, I started seeing these lights dancing along the top of my curtain in the bedroom. My curtains would be closed. And I would see these lights. So initially when I seen the lights, I thought there was, I live off the beaten track. I live up a laneway, a driveway. And you wouldn't expect traffic to come up there at night time, or not too often anyway. So I assumed it was traffic initially, but I thought if a car was to come up, you would see the lights turning round as the car would turn round, obviously, but this wasn't the case. There was no sound, and it was just full on, like it's coming straight towards the window. This happened quite a few times, and it petrified me, actually. I was terrified of opening these curtains because I didn't know what I'd find. I knew it wasn't cars. And I did have thought to the idea that if I open these curtains, there might be a big spacecraft out there or something. So I was kind of a little bit reluctant to open the curtains in case that was the case, because I just thought, I don't know what to do. So anyway, I was lying in bed one night and the lights came again. And instead of just focusing on the lights, I became aware of a pattern on my wall. So where the light had come in over the window, I would have been sideways to the window and the side walls. So there was a most incredible three-spiraled pattern. It could be a geometric, I can't even say it, geometric pattern. Quite beautiful, absolutely illuminant, and the full spectrum of the rainbow colours. Just totally vibrant, alive, like living, how do you explain it? Living colours vibrating on the wall, like a real live rainbow, but in a triple spiral. Not the spiral as in three little spirals, but like the you know, that figure 8. God, I can't even remember how that's called either. The eternity, but with 3 linked up. And I thought, wow, this is just not normal. This is from something else, you know. This is definitely somebody's communicating with me here. So I was in absolute awe, you know, and gratitude. I was reaching a gratitude at this point, thinking someone or some bodies are communicating with me. This is for me to see. Obviously, it's in my bedroom. So another time, whether it be a planet, a craft, whatever, had projected like the crop circle, like a crop circle pattern, that kind of colour right across my entire ceiling. Again, it was quite beautiful. And when this happened, I watched it, and I watched it, and I watched it. Again, as I said at this stage, I was in gratitude for what I was being presented with. And then I decided to be brave enough to open the curtains. So I ripped the curtains open. Of course, there was nothing there whatsoever. This was being projected from space, you know. Funny enough, I was looking at the planet Sirius through my binoculars a couple of nights ago when I wasn't sleeping. I got up and Sirius was incredibly bright in the sky, so I connected, you know, Sirius being the dog star, and the Egyptians were well aware it's to do with our consciousness and our pineal gland and our conscious awakening. Sirius has pretty much a lot to do with that. And I was viewing through the binoculars, and Sirius really was pulsating very vibrantly all the spectrum of the rainbow, just like a beautiful kaleidoscope, just pattern after colours. So I can't say for sure that it was Sirius, that from Sirius that this pattern was being projected on my wall. I've absolutely no idea, other than that I was being shown something. Now, I decided to consciously make a more powerful link and ask that only light bodies that they were most welcome to communicate with me in any way they seen fit that wasn't frightening for me. So I made a very powerful intention that any communication that I would have with anything of spirit would be of the light, only of the light and nothing else. And then for a period of time, I was being downloaded with a lot more clarity, a lot more information, a lot more awareness. And I always had an when these times would happen and I hadn't been studying anything, but knowings would be embedded in my awareness. I would feel that the occipital, the bone at the back of the head, just that the bone at the base of the skull would be terribly tender, like it was bruised. And this happened for quite a period of time. When I say quite a period of time, I mean maybe just weeks or months maximum. I wasn't measuring it in thought, but I was always in gratitude and saying, if you wish to meet with me or allow me to travel in my dream state, I don't necessarily need to remember, but I was welcoming of it. Now, shortly after this time period, I started to experience a light craft that would appear out the front of my home. Now, I have recordings of this on my YouTube. I will put a link to underneath in the writing afterwards to say what the name of that I call the videos for reference. Now, this craft would show up on a nightly basis for 1 hour from 7:15 to 7:45 of an evening. For 1 hour, lights on. Now, I don't know if they were there permanently and just invisible, or how this light show or family worked. I just know that every evening at this time, lights would come on. There were 4 major lights on a level. Then there would be 3 lower lights on a lower level to the left. If I'm viewing, would be to their right and my left. And then there was another level underneath this again. But the main lights that were on show were the major 4. Now, the recordings I've got on here are of 3 and 1. Because sometimes there'd be 4 main lights would be on, sometimes it'd be 3, sometimes 2, and at other times 1. Now, what was different about them was they were just so illuminant again compared to any other light around. They would appear in this fields. Might have expanded over more than one field because this was rather large. I never seen any craft. I only seen the lights, the 3 different levels of lights. No outside pattern or shape of anything else, just the lights. Beautiful platinum surrounded by violet. But really vibrant, really pulsating. And after a period of time, I had some fun with these. I actually spent an evening or 2, maybe more. In those days, I was still partaking in a little bit of wine. I would have a little glass of wine here and there, so I would stay outside and communicate and talk and have a little bit of fun with the lights. So there was one night in particular where I took a LED battery or torch, and I asked that these lights, which were several miles away out in front of my home, appearing every evening, and I felt very strongly they were appearing for me, for my benefit. So I asked them to switch their light off and on in sequence with mine. You know, if I was going to flash my little torch, little LED torch, if I was going to flash my light 3 times, for them to blink their lights 3 times, 2, 1, etc. And every time I was rewarded with exactly what I was asking. Now, I can't for the life of me find this recording at the moment. There are dozens of tapes to work my way through. I'm just bit by bit going through some old tapes that I found, but I have absolutely dozens of, because this was recorded on a little Sony digital tape, not not card. So there was just never enough room on the little pieces of paper to fill to fill in what was on the tapes. So I'm going to have to trawl through an awful lot of backload of Sun recordings and all other sorts of recordings to find these. But I will find them and upload it. I didn't upload it at the time because no one at that stage was believing or paying any attention to any kind of UFO phenomena or galactic phenomena amongst the masses, that is. Now I'm talking about land here. I'm not talking about in the sky craft. I'm talking about land craft or lights. And now there was never a landing and a taking off. It is lights on or lights off. Lights on or lights off. That is it. You know, I've quite a few recordings of some beautiful, unfortunately I never had a camera powerful enough to zoom in clear enough to a lot of the stuff that I was seeing at the time, but my goodness, did I see lights coming together, then separating, then have others where there's a craft and like lights going out from it, going way out far, and then they come back again into like a main craft, if you like, or a main body of light. Lights coming together as one, as I've said, and then separating into two and going apart and then coming back again. And just I was demonstrated all sorts of stuff on land and off land. And then eventually I was also made aware of the other craft which a lot of people are recording. Now, for me, my jury is absolutely out on this, you know. I personally don't feel any sense whatsoever of these being of a spiritual nature, of a galactic nature. There's just something too mechanical about the way the lights throb. There's lots of colours going on, I know. I've observed a lot of people's videos on this. Then I got rather bored with it, to be honest. I got bored with recording it and I got bored with viewing. You know, the fake plane phenomena, the planes taking on different shapes, shape shifting and that sort of stuff. I've observed all this as well, you know, but again, that's all I will do with that. I will observe. I am in no position to make any comment on what they are because I simply do not know. If this is advanced man-made technology out there, if they're to do with the chemtrails, because I did see one night leaving a huge trail behind it. So I really have no idea if it's malevolent or benevolent, but everything else that I've recorded and spoken about is benevolent. I have a strong heart connection. I know there's a greater universal connection with these other sightings. And I had the most beautiful one on, if you look at my video, June the 4th, 2012, when I had my camera facing the other way entirely for something I'd seen the night before in the opposite direction. So I had my camera all trained up ready for it. And I happened to turn around. There was the most amazing display going on the other side entirely, and I recorded it just everywhere. It was beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Now, I didn't put the full recording. I only left 6 minutes of it on YouTube, but there's a much longer one, for I know there was 1 or 2 people who thought they might be Chinese lanterns. No. Don't be silly. I observe, I'm aware of what is mechanical That particular recording, there's one, if you notice, just goes along, straight along the bottom of the screen. Now my further recording, which lasted maybe about a half an hour, but I took it down again. I may put it up again later, but it's just that one of these light shows just continues straight along the whole bottom of the screen, above land, above the water. You see right across. The other ones were all going up into the sky. It was the most beautiful display. I seen another amazing display on, it was the 21st of September. The autumnal equinox in 2012, and our sky, my goodness, from one side of the sky to the other was absolutely full of light craft. Just amazing light craft, like the orange colour of the ones that were in my June the 4th recording that I've mentioned. But just right across the sky from east to west. The entire sky from one end to the other was just full of these, all moving in synchronicity. Not all in an exact pattern or shape, but synchronistically you knew they were all connected. Absolutely amazing, bright, beautiful display from east to west of the sky. It was incredible. I'd been on my computer uploading something at the time, so I really didn't have time to get out and record it. I managed to run outside when it caught my eye and just was in so much awe. I'm so glad I didn't record it because it only lasted for about 5 minutes. And I wouldn't have had time. By the time I would have got the camera out and set it up, it would have been over and done with, and I would have missed seeing the incredible sight. It was put down. It was something that managed to be picked up by news, etc., but they played it down as meteors. Meteor? No! It was not meteors. It was just an amazing display. So I just want people to be fully aware that we really have a teeming galactic friends and families and much more intelligent beings and intelligent life form out there on other planets than we've ever been made aware of or have been aware of before. Now, I have a feeling that they will not be connecting with us directly. I don't see the point of it for them. The idea is to help shift our vibration up to a much higher frequency in order that we communicate with them. They're not going to bring their frequency levels down to ours for us to communicate with them. We must reach a spiritual stage in our evolution in order that we communicate with higher beings, higher entities. So for anyone waiting for this mass landing, when their conscious levels are zippo, down on 3D level, expecting governments to be communicating with great galactic beings, how can that be if their energy vibrational frequencies are not at a level of which telepathic or that'll be the communication anyhow? It's telepathic communication. For those who reach higher levels of existence, we will probably be able to see these beings a lot more because our level of frequency has been raised to such a much higher degree than before that it's possible to see. Our frequency levels must become much more lighter. That is the whole purpose of their communicating with us, to help assist us up to a higher level. Not for them to come down to our level, but to bring our light forth. Does that make sense? It certainly does to me. I will put links to the various videos I was talking about. Now, these lights that I was speaking about that appeared, they stayed with me for 2 entire years. Every night for 1 hour for 2 years. And I found it a great comfort, because at that time I had great fears with what was going on in the world and whatever as well, and people not being awakened, because this was all prior to the end of 2012, you have to understand. So I still had some fears. So these were an absolute great comfort to me, knowing I was being overseen, I was being looked after, I was being protected. Now, that to me was incredible, absolutely incredible, knowing and feeling this. So I decided to go looking for them. I went out in my little car a couple of times, driving up and down roads. You know, I look out straight in front of my home. I can see for miles and miles and miles, you know. So what road, these fields that were near, I had no idea. Because once you drive away over there, you're just down on ground level, so you can't see clearly. So I drove up and down roads of where I thought particular barns were and stuff. So I drove around for a few different occasions, and then this one day I went looking again to roughly around where the area was. I knew there was an old church close by, or not too far away from where this would have happened. So I'm driving down this little narrow road, and there in front of me is 3 horses, 3 white horses, with what looked like a mother, a father, and a young man of about 10 to 12 kind of age group. The father on the left side, the son in the middle, and the mother on the right side, taking up the full road, which is only a narrow side road, coming down the centre of the road. But what was unusual about them was the 3 of them were wearing silver headgear, like riding helmets, but silver. So I parked my car into the side of the road at a gateway to allow them to come past, and I viewed them. I acknowledged them. They acknowledged me, and they went past, and I was dying to speak, but then I thought, what can you say? Excuse me, are you real? What could I do? So I put the car in gear, looked in the mirror to take off, and as I looked in the mirror of my car, the 3 of them had swung round in the road. Obviously it turned, because the 3 of them were actually facing, looking at me, like through the back of the car, and faced to come back the direction from which they'd come. I thought, wow, God almighty. And I still didn't say anything. Jesus, what is wrong with me? So I drove off. Then I drove off down another road, and I thought, Christ, no, I've got to speak to them. So I drove off, as I said, away down another road. I was for heading back home, and then I thought, no, I'm going to come back. So I drove back, and I met them again. And again, I was just dumbstruck, and I couldn't speak because I didn't know what to say. So I came on home not having a clue. Is this something to do with the beings or the craft, the light show that I've been viewing for for 2 years, and I got home. And for the next 3 weeks, there were no light showings whatsoever. I was absolutely devastated. I thought, oh Christ, they're either letting me know that yes, it was them, yes, they were aware that I was seeking to find them, and they had materialized in that way in a human form for my awareness. I do not know. I really do not know. There may be a riding school over there that people ride in silver hats, who knows? I haven't gone back to find out yet. Anyhow, it was just unusual that the light show stopped at that point. And I was really quite devastated, really, because I'd got used to the comfort of this being there all the time. And then I went down to Cork for a couple of weeks, and I came back, and they appeared again, or it, craft, lights, group. I can't really express this as well as I can only express what I know. I can't express what I don't know. So the lights appeared after this time sporadically, on occasions, now and again, but not regularly like it had done prior to this. And then over a short period of time after that, then it just disappeared altogether, and I've never witnessed it again. Please come back. That was about, was it 2011? Yeah, over 2 years ago. Now, what struck me as knowing they were wonderfully assisting us as well was one particular evening there was a forest fire raging behind my home, not terribly far away, maybe a couple of miles, but if these forest fires catch, can do a fair bit of burning. So anyway, I was going up this back lane and watching the fire, the forest burning, and I seen the lights. It was still daylight, but the 4 main lights was there at the edge of the fire where the fire was burning. So I thought, right, this isn't going to go anywhere. This fire's going to go out. It's been seen, it's been taken care of. So, it's been an absolute amazing comfort for me coming into awareness of our galactic families. I think I've called one of mine Galactic Federation of Light, and maybe some of these, which is not associated with, there's a group calls themselves that name, but I'm not associated with them. Now there is another person whom I viewed her video, and her video was the same craft, the same kind of light show that she recorded in the UK. Kelly, a girl called Kelly. I can't remember at the moment the name of her YouTube site, but I will look it up, and I will add it underneath my video here so you may view her recording as well. She's the only other person that I have seen to have recorded the same phenomena as I was viewing for this long period of time. Our benevolent light family. they call them star family, galactic family, soul groups, whether they're Sirian, Pleiadian, I really don't know, and it doesn't really matter to me. What matters to me is they are loving, universal family, friends and loved ones who are communicating and assisting me and assisting anyone else who is evolving through that stage and coming into our full spiritual beingness and universality and awareness of our greater purpose and soul awareness of what we are, who we are, that we're not just little humans running through life for no particular reason. So I think that's enough for today. I wish you all a wonderful, wonderful time. We've only another couple of days left, I think, until this year's out, and then we'll be into 2014. I wish everyone an absolute blessed time. I wish everyone to come into a much fuller awareness of consciously aware, being present. When we speak of being present, I mean being aware, being psychically, spiritually, consciously aware of all things, all phenomena here and there. You know, many people speak of living in the now. You know, don't worry about yesterday because that's gone, and tomorrow because it's not here yet. That is not what it means. Living in the now means living in the know. If you live in the know, the present is what is important now, but it's influencing the future. So the future must be taken in. And it was the past that brought us to this point. So as long as you're not connected to the past and held back by the past, so that you are balanced between your past and your future, being presently aware that you're creating and co-creating the future. That's what being in the now and being present really means. Being in full conscious awareness. And in order to be in full conscious awareness, we must take care of our thinking and ensure it is a very powerful, positive resonance. We must take care of our eating. We must stop poisoning our bodies. We must take care of all our gross thinking, our insecurities, our obsession with money and jobs and status and self-importance. We really must drop this nonsense and come together, because that is what is holding us back individually. What holds you back is the gross inferior self, which is held within your lower chakras and the lower thought processing of your mind. Your mind is 7 stages, 7 states, 7 levels, as there are 7 chakras through your body. Now the bottom 2 chakras, this is where the gross is all held in here. All your insecurities, all your fears, all your everything's held in your 2 lowest chakras. Your root and your sacral, your emotional dramas, your security, your blah, 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 your jealousies, your nonsense, your absolute and utter nonsense that's holding you back from living is all held in there. The sun is between your inferior self and your superior self, which is the higher chakras. Your spiritual connection, your psychic connection, your soul connection. So the sun, your sun center, is suspended between heaven, the higher state of yourself, and hell, the lower state of yourself. So you're suspended between the polarities. The same as our sun in the sky is suspended between the heavens and the earth. The focal point between the higher frequencies and the lower frequencies. Same within yourself, your solar plexus, your sun center, between the higher frequencies, the higher self, pineal gland, heart, sun center, and the lower. So the sooner we are done with the gross lower, the sooner we become the galactic beings, the children of the universe, the sooner we come into a free world. When we stop focusing on all the nonsense and we start sharing our absolute gifts and abilities. I love you. Oh, my family and friends, I love you, I love you, I love everyone who helps me, everyone who projects so much love through that sun to me. I absolutely and utterly love you all. Those known to me, those unknown to me. I love you so much. So much appreciation and gratitude for what I've learned, what I know, who I am, and the stage of my evolution. I'm so grateful for the awakening. Thank you. And I love you. I love everyone, quite simply because this is not an easy journey. This has not been an easy journey. The journey of duality and polarity. Coming through this makes mighty, mighty, mighty souls, far greater than the angels. For the angels never took this journey. But the soul who's come through and been challenged and come out the hero or the courageous, superior being over all adversity and all challenges that this world has thrown at us. Be proud of yourself for how much you've achieved, and be ever striving to achieve a far superior greatness within self, to have activated completely your godliness and the powers that bestows upon you, because your frequency levels are vibrating at such a high frequency that your connection with the universe is so much more powerful, all powerful. There's a free ebb and flow then. I think that's enough to be going on with. Oh dear. I'm thinking of a certain young lady now who's going to be laughing. And you know what, girl? I didn't need it. I brought it in just in case. I didn't need to blow my nose today. So thank you very much. Have the most wonderful day and look forward to the future and give it your most. Give it your highest intention in everything you do. And we'll soon be done with the hardship in this world and come into a great, great, great freedom. You know, beyond the fear lies freedom. Thank you.